Of the show.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Karma J. Just kind of depends on the day. And we have a really interesting conversation today to start off our Monday with a bang. And it is, I came across a story where there was a woman, a white woman, saying that she quit her job, her new job, just in 1 hour after being told to reject applicants with black sounding names. Her decision shines a light on how racism still hides in plain sight inside corporate America. We are talking about workplace ethics, the cost of integrity, and how bias continues to shape the opportunities black professionals receive. Now, I'm excited to have this conversation. Let me pull that out. I'm excited to have this conversation because I am on a panel of educators or former educator. Would y'all call yourselves former educators at this point? Still educating. Right. So still educating. I think we're still all educating, but y'all have been in the classroom before. So I think I have the best panel today. I am joined by Dr. Sabrina Williams, who is a life and legacy planning strategist. Hopefully I got that right. I think I got it right. Okay. With my homegirl Marlo, who is a film and TV producer. And we have our resident therapist of the day, Joe Corley. So let's hop into this, y'all. First of all, before we start this conversation, I just wanted to see if anybody got a glimpse of this versus of the versus battle this weekend, including Cash Money Millionaires and No Limit Soldiers. Did anybody watch it?
Well, I had to check in for home. I had to check in.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask y'all the question. Anybody in the chat watching? Because we gotta settle the score before we start this. Who won the battle? Marlo.
Cash Money won because Cash Money is uptown and uptown is New Orleans. And that is it. And that's all you need to know.
Okay, and Joe, who won for you?
No Limit Wash Cash Money. I was surprised to see that. I was surprised to see that what they washed them, man.
Oh, Dr. Sabrina, I know you wasn't sitting at home watching Cash Money and No Limit, but sometimes you surprise me. Sometimes you surprise me.
I
Like,
know,
I was in jail.
but look, Miss Black Hollywood. I do know who they are.
Okay, well that matters. But sometimes you surprise me. You'd be like, yeah, because when I was in jail when I was 22, I'd be like, Dr. Sabrina. All right, so we got All In said No Limit. All right, Walterine said, "Hey Queens, hey Mama Walterine." All right, who else said? All right, All In said, "Me and X and Juvie held it down. They absolutely did." I'm gonna just go ahead and say a tie, right? Because if it wasn't, I'm gonna just say this. I was one of the original hot girls. I'm gonna just always claim that title. I'm a former hot girl, and also, Master P was part of my story in coming to Hollywood. You know what I mean? He introduced me. I've left him a long time ago, so I just got a lot of respect for them. So I'm gonna just say it was a tie on the panel. All right, let's get into the real conversation, y'all. So I know you all have heard the story. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to get your thoughts on just the whole idea of this story. And is there a such thing as have you seen this before, ever? Like, have you seen it in the workplaces, in the corporate spaces that you work in? Let's just start there. Dr. Sabrina, have you ever seen this in any corporate space that you've been in?
Not so much that I've seen it, it's just as a parent, I remember having a conversation with a relative of mine who was in corporate America at the time that I was carrying my children. And that was one of the conversations he had with me regarding name selection. And so, I am aware that that exists. I have worked in HR before. Of course, I didn't discriminate against anybody because of their names, but I cannot say that I'm surprised that it would be happening or that it does happen.
When you were in HR, did any resumes come across your desk when it was like collard greenish? You was like, I know somebody did not name their kids collard greenish. Did you ever have one of those moments?
Well, absolutely. I worked at a poultry plant. I was in HR at a poultry plant in Mississippi. So absolutely. Collard greens and cornbread.
Yeah, collard greenish and them.
Yams.
That's so funny. Yeah, Misha, you got to just add a name to it.
Yeah.
See, I mean, listen, I like ethnic names, so I'm not the one. Like, I name my plants Plantavius, La Plantria, Patricia, like Plantasia. Listen, that's my plants. That's my plants, babies.
But that's
right?
your plants.
Those are my plant babies. So but those are your plants. Marlo, what do you say? Have you been in those spaces where you've either seen this type of behavior or tell us about it?
I mean, definitely in the school system, people make jokes or they say things, but I'm sensitive to that kind of stuff, and I have like a very run of the mill gender neutral, unless you live overseas, then you think I'm a man type name. But for the most part, name your kid what you want. But I will say there is a child that was born here where I live now, Shreveport, Louisiana. He made headlines because his name was the coldest, and he played
Oh,
for
the coldest. Mm-hmm.
So it's
Don't
not
the
for me.
coldest have a twin? It was like there was like two of them. I think I seen this online. It was like the coldest and like
Yeah, I mean they all have names
churches or something like that. It was like
that lend themselves. I think his dad had a name like that. I don't know, but name your kids what you want. Collard green, Chanel. Shoot, I don't
the
know.
coldest, Joe. The coldest is your kid's name. Come out the womb. It's like, I shall name you the coldest. Like, what? All right. So have you seen this? Obviously, you've been in the classroom, but have you seen discrimination even at the schools that you worked at based on names?
Not really in schools. I think that's an expectation. But fun fact: before I was a teacher or a therapist, I was in finance and accounting. So, right before I transitioned to teaching, I was actually a recruiter. So, if you don't have relationships with these companies, then you have to present resumes to your colleagues who have relationships with companies, and the only way you get paid is if the people get hired. So you had to be selective about who was actually going to get hired, and you knew that discrimination existed. So Kala Greenisha was probably not going to get even a look from your colleague, even if she went to whatever school it was and had all the qualifications that she needed. She wasn't going to get past the eye test because you get so many resumes. You get you know um, dozens and dozens of resumes a day. So you have to immediately eliminate the ones that are not even going to get a look. And I learned a lot in my brief. I mean, I was only there for a couple months before I got fired because I'm not a salesperson. But um, in that time, I did learn that discrimination does exist, and people are actually absolutely looking at those names and moving past those names, regardless of qualification. You don't even get to the qualifications if it don't pass the name check.
Wow. Do you and this is all, you can shake your head yes or no for the whole panel. Do you feel like parents do their children a disservice by naming them creative names? Yeah, shake your head yes or no. Three, two, one. Okay, with that being said or not said, let's go to this first video. We'll be right back.
Black people. I had my first day today at a new job, and basically, without going too far into it, my job is to schedule care for people that need it. A lot of this job is going through applications for people who want to give care. I learned today If it is a name that does not sound white, we are to move it to the completed tasks. We then note your application as moved due to name standards. Now, it's my first day, so I ask, what does that mean? I'm black, I'm very light-skinned, obviously. And she says, And I said, you mean like our names? Like our names? Because I thought it was like a brand standard, like, no, it's literally our names. So I just want you to know, and everybody else to know, this 100% happens, and I have 122 screenshots of people, their names, their phone numbers, and their email addresses, and the reason why they weren't hired directly because of their name. Then I have this. I didn't even make it 1 hour. After I got my heart rate to stop spiking, I went and found the owner like I planned and asked her directly, super calm. She didn't deny any of it. She admitted that it's, fucked up. She apologized. I told her that I don't think this is going to be a good fit because this is not something that I would be willing to participate in. I made sure to keep it like professional and not scary, like not threatening. So I have a phone call with my guy later this afternoon. I'm gonna go ahead and let him tell me how to proceed. I know that this happens. It's just that I personally have never experienced this type of training. If they have a name that sounds like this or that's jacked up, we don't do it because we have standards. Like, I guess we're going on a journey, and eventually we're gonna say who it is.
Name standards. That's a new one. I don't think I've ever, I haven't been in corporate. I work in Hollywood, right? So, like, I have not heard that term before, name standards. Has anybody else? Like, well, Joe, you said, no, name standards hasn't been a thing.
I never
So,
heard that term, but I
never
heard of the process, obviously. But yeah, I never heard that term.
Okay, so there's name standards. Marlo, what do you think of these name standards?
I'm not surprised that there's name standards, but it's funny to me because as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about how you said what is it, put the Nisha on anything?
Mm-hmm.
White people's equivalent of Nisha is Lee, Leigh, right? They'll tack those letters on the back of any kind of name, right? Brownlee, Ashley, Ansley, Ainsley, like, and that's their Nisha. So I think that it is right if you thinking about niches in context, there's nothing wrong with it, as much as who is the eye of the beholder, right? So this Leigh gets to ride, but Neisha got to get blocked, and it's just crazy to me. But we don't make those decisions in most cases, and when people are in position to push back on crazy policy like this, they choose their paycheck and their benefits every rip of the trip. And so it's never going to change.
Okay. So listen, I want to take a quick break and I want to come back because I want to make sure that we have enough time to really hear what you have to say, Dr. Sabrina and Joe. So let's go to a break really quick and we'll be right back.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
I was thinking during that commercial, we're not the only ones that have to code switch. I often, have you ever been in a corporate space and been like, maybe there's an Asian person in there or somebody else, and you're like, what's your name? And they're like, Gina. I'm like, your name's not Gina. What's your name? And then it's this name that sounds like xylophone or yang or whatever, right? And you can't and they've just changed it. I think it feels like it's not just black people that have to code switch and say like, okay, if it doesn't sound white in American standards or a name standard, then we have to change it to like Bob to get ahead. So I don't know if that's all the way right. It's almost like nobody is right if it's not white, right? It's not just us, but we're focusing on us today. But what do you think about that, Dr. Sabrina? What do you think about the video and what I just said?
So it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. But the reality is, okay, let's step back for a minute. We're walking into other people's worlds. Man, we're going to their companies that they started. They get to make the rules, whatever those rules are. They get to make those rules. And so when you walk into somebody else's space, unfortunately, sometimes, many times, you got to play by the rules that they set, which is why it's so important for us to create our own wealth, to create our own businesses, and to create our own opportunities for our people. I remember specifically a time when I worked for Nissan. I'm going to call the name drop, okay? I had a conversation with a manager one night on the night shift. Okay. He and I are talking, and he's telling me about this employee that was a stellar employee. And, he was thinking about promoting the employee. However, there was a problem, and it was not the person's name in this instance. It was the fact that he had a grill, and he knew that that was not going to fly with his management. So even though this guy could run that line, could work every job on that line, his manager did not feel comfortable promoting him because he didn't think he could get it past his managers. Interestingly enough, a few days later, I happened to walk out in the plant, and I'm walking past that work area, and I see this guy that greets me with the biggest, warmest smile. And I walk over to him, young brother. I just engage him in conversation. So I say to him, have you recently applied for a management position? And he said yes. And I asked him if he got any feedback. He didn't get the job. And I said, do you have any clue why? And he started giving me these reasons why he didn't think he got the job. But in reality, none of that was true. The fact was, it was his mouth that kept him from getting that job. So at that point, I pulled my young brother to the side, and I just told him, I had to be real with him. I told him the truth. And he said to me, he thanked me, first of all. And he said, I decided to do this when I was like 14, 15 years old. I didn't even think forward about what type of, how it would prevent me from moving forward. I never even saw myself in corporate America or in any of these spaces. And so unfortunately, and I know I'm taking a long time, but I just felt the need to share this with somebody that may be listening to this. Unfortunately, sometimes either we make decisions or our parents make decisions, and they're fine if you come from a family of money and you're going to be working in the family business. But if you go into somebody else's company and you're dependent on them for your livelihood, it may not fly.
It might not fly, y'all. To tattoo your face, to get grills. Now listen, it's so funny because obviously like I've lived in Louisiana before. So I see that a lot. I see people working and I will say this, and Joe, I'm gonna move on to you. I remember I went in for an interview and I had braids in my hair. And braids is a very ethnic thing, and I was in Metairie, Louisiana, which is like a suburb of New Orleans. And the lady just straight told me, was like, I want to hire you, but here's the thing. It's your braids. It's your braids. If you could just take those out, that would be great. Then I can hire you at I don't know. It was like, I don't know, like a buffet burger spot. I don't know. I don't remember, but it was like, I don't know. I went home and I just didn't feel good in my spirit about it. I was like, they're braids. Like, they're braids. I don't want to take my braids out. And so I don't know. It was just little things that I felt like was it was fine. Well, it's basically not what you're saying, because obviously it wasn't permanent, but there was a part of me that was like, "Oh, I just don't need to work there if they can't accept." Because whether I quit, I start working without the braids. At some point, I'm gonna get braids, and they're gonna be mad. What, they gonna fire me? Anyway, Joe, what do you think? What do you think of the video we watched? And how would you like to weigh in? I would love to hear what you think.
Um, I look at it like, again, we have to choose between survival and authenticity.
Mm.
It's just part of the black experience for the most part. Our survival has rules to it. We got to lower our tone. Like you said, you got to watch your hair. You can't correct the microaggressions. You know what I mean? You're just supposed to laugh it off so they don't label you as somebody who's difficult or tough to work with. That's just part of what it is. But your authenticity calls for you to honor who you are and
Mm-hmm.
protect your identity. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that we're experiencing and understanding now. Like, our current generations are getting into this because we did not have the luxury, so to speak. I mean, we were actually being trained. I know for myself, I went through an internship program that helped people get internships in corporate America, and we actually get trained to basically push your authenticity down if you want to get a job, which is
Mm-hmm.
understandable. But now we're talking about claiming your space and refusing to shrink, and we told that we can't do both. So when I look at this, I'm looking like from my personal and as a therapist point of view. It's like you want to watch people fight this. I have to watch people fight this internal battle all the time.
Yeah.
Paycheck or peace. So,
Mm-hmm.
security, or you gotta like your self respect. You know what I mean? And that tug of war is, for unfortunately, it's part of what we're dealing with, and it impacts our mental health in massive ways. I look at it differently now as a therapist than I did when I was coming up through corporate America, and
Mm-hmm.
even as an educator. But because we get taught it's really risky to be yourself and be authentic, and corporate America keeps asking you to bring your whole selves to work, but only if your whole self fits into whatever their comfort zone is. So I mean, it's tough, man. That's when you ask that question about kids or parents doing their kids a disservice. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to answer that question because you know what I mean. Like, it depends on your path of survival, or are you in a position to thrive? You know what I mean. Like, if you want your kid to survive in a certain environment, then yeah, you gotta name them and make them look a certain way, unfortunately. But at what cost? Are you teaching your kid not to be authentic? You know what I mean? Not that there's something wrong with them being themselves or being of their own culture. There's a big cost to that, and has long term effects. I promise you, it has long term effects because I observe the long term effects on a regular basis. So almost lean towards authenticity. I'm always going to lean towards authenticity. You know that about me. That is the reason for my company being called Real You. I'm always going to lean into that, and you will find a way being yourself. I truly believe that.
I love that. I love all of that. I have about 30 seconds until the next, I'll give you 40 seconds. 40 seconds until the next commercial. Is Miss Poetry said authenticity is everything. Marlo, do you believe authenticity is everything as you sit with your locks? And I saw you in the interview with your locks and swinging them as you were interviewing on television. Is authenticity everything?
It is, and I didn't always have it. I didn't always move with authenticity until I had a few microaggressions happen, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be me because even as I'm shape shifting, I still got to deal with the BS, right? So I might as well be who I am, so that they know if they come with the BS, be ready for a strong rebuttal, right? And I've had, talking about names, my youngest daughter's name is Jade. When I was pregnant with her, after I had her, I had a colleague, white male colleague, asked me how I spell Jade. And I said, Jade. And he was like, oh, you don't have like any flair to it. You didn't add a Y. I was like, why would I add an unnecessary letter to a pre-existing word? And I just walked off from it. But you're definitely going to deal with microaggressions. And the best thing I ever did for myself was when I decided to be completely myself, no matter what room I enter, whether it's the mayor, U.S. attorney, I don't care. I am me, and I'm good people. So you're gonna lose if you go snap judgment when it comes to me. You will definitely lose out on a great experience. So I don't worry about folks no more.
I love that. And let's just not act like, let's for a minute, let's not act like as we go into this commercial that Black people don't add every letter of the alphabet and be like, that's silent. My name is T. Like it'd be like TMLOGHT. Just say the T. That's it. My mom just, and or they're
They
switching
do,
the
but he don't get to
accents or
ask me. He don't get to ask me that. He don't
that's
get to ask
right.
me that.
Now right, correct. Let's go. Yeah, let's take this into commercial. This is a good time. We'll be right back.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming.
A job rejection. 2 women say they were turned down because their names were, quote, ghetto. I'm Courtney Bryan along with Steve Savard.
The West County company claims they didn't say that. News 4's Alexis Zotos is investigating tonight, and Alexis, this story has gone viral.
That's right. And this all started because a woman posted that rejection email to Facebook. Let me walk you through how this all got started. So 2 women posted their resumes on a job site called Indeed.com. Now, Indeed.com is a website where you upload resumes, you apply to thousands of different jobs. Both these women in St. Louis applied for a job at Mentality Health. It's a Chesterfield company. It was a customer service position. But both of them got a disturbing email response. That company says they were hacked, and they consider this a deplorable response.
Thank you for your interest in careers at Mentality Health. Unfortunately, we do not consider candidates that have a suggestive ghetto names. We wish you the best in your career search. Regards.
Dornisha Zachary couldn't believe her eyes when she opened up the email from a recent job application.
Honestly, right then and there, my eyes kind of got a little bit teary.
She applied online to the customer service job at Mentality Health, a Chesterfield company.
The company looked at my name and said, no, we don't care about what you've done in life. Your name is going to dismiss you completely.
But the company's CEO says they were hacked. Chesterfield police are investigating the situation and say it appears the emails, at least 20, might have come from a disgruntled employee.
They were hacked, y'all. They were hacked, Dornisha. Listen, it wasn't Dornisha. They were hacked. What do y'all think about this? Like, what do you think about that email, first of all? Marlo, I'm going to start with you. I see you shaking your head going, mm-mm. Were they hacked?
They were not hacked. They were not hacked. Who hacked them? And why you only hacked Dornisha's email? Why didn't you hack Ainsley's damn email, right? Because you weren't hacked. And they always, just be honest, right? I prefer name standards, right? If you're going to say something about why you can't hire me and it has to be related to my name, say that my name standard don't fit. But the problem is, all of these Eastern European names have 17 consonants and 3 vowels. And people still get hired with Eastern European names every single day. So you mean to tell me you can pronounce Janoskowski but you cannot pronounce Dornisha Jackson. Come on now. Like, that's the stuff that makes me mad. And I wish you just go ahead and say, we being racist in this moment and you got to deal with it, Dornisha, than for you to try to pretend that Ainsley Schlauskanowski is an easily pronounceable name. It's ridiculous.
Schmaush Kanowski it caught it straight today. Dr. Sabrina, what do you say?
What do you
Ainsley
say
is
after
catching
that?
a stray today.
What do you say after that? It's true. It's true. But I mean, unfortunately, that's just our reality. That is our reality. So again, I get it. We want to be authentic. We want to just hold on to our culture. And I mean, what names are any more confusing or hard to pronounce than those that are in the good book? Methuselah, some of these names are just this long, we can't pronounce. So we just skip over. You're reading the Bible. Oh, I skip over that one. You know who you are. But it's sad that we find ourselves here. But this is just another one of these examples of our struggle. So as Joe said, it becomes a question of how do you as an individual choose to deal with this? Now, if your answer is, I'm going to go into the world, into corporate America, and I want to try to climb the corporate ladder, these are some things that you got to consider. You may choose to go by your preferred name as opposed to your given name to help you navigate those waters. I don't know, but it is our reality. It's just something that we another example of something we got to deal with.
Joe, I want to get your response. I want to throw let's get your response, and then I want to throw a little wrench in this conversation. Joe, what do you think about what we just watched?
Throw your wrench, man. I don't have
Right.
no.
All
Yeah,
right.
throw your wrench.
Okay. So all right. So I'm thinking I'm gonna just play the video and then we'll come back to it. Because I think this is a great way to also start to think about Black names.
Was job rejection. 2 women say they were.
Nope, that's not it. That's not the one. That's not the one.
So those so-called ghetto names that everyone makes fun of, that people talk about on the day-to-day, may not be ghetto names. They may be indigenous names, and I'm gonna break this down right now. Let's get it. So let's get right to it, right? When the indigenous tribes like the Cherokee, Cree, Catawba, and Yamasee were reclassified as colored or Negro by the U.S. law, especially after 1830 to 1850, they hid identity and naming, maintained sound patterns like Kwa, woman, Yah, spirit, wolf, mother, Shah, sacred breath, similar in multiple languages. Created new names that blended English and American Indian roots to survive. This involved names like Shaniqua, which means sacred woman or spirit woman. Laquanda, how many of the Laquandas y'all know, or Shaniquas y'all know? The woman of the land, Taekwon. Strong leader, right? We know Quan, right? Quan is the male or the masculine version of Kwa. Let's start breaking this down. Kwa or Kwe, we know a lot of Kways, right? Kways, right? Ta or Sha, right? Again, Kwa, Sha, Ya or Ya, Kwan, right? Which is again the masculine version of Kwa. These elements appear in both traditional Cherokee names and Black American names, pointing shared linguistics, aesthetics, and cultural or ancestral overlap, especially in the Southeast, our homeland. Names like Weaqua, Shaniqua, Equanita, LaQuasia may sound ghetto to outsiders today, but they carry echoes of feminine, tribal, and spiritual identity. Let's be clear.
Right? So listen, is this it's just a cultural thing? We don't even let's just talk about this for a minute. Is it necessarily ghetto? What we think is ghetto and just feels like ghetto now. I mean, we can think about that even with the braids, right? Our braids aren't appreciated, but our braids were literally them saying like us giving patterns to freedom, right? Like where you braid a hair a certain pattern and it tells like how to get to freedom. And so I just wonder if it's like that history that we don't learn and that we don't know, and you just somebody has programmed you or giving you a story that, oh, that's just ghetto, or oh, that's just not a part of who you are, but it is. What do you all think of that? I don't know, I thought that was interesting. Anybody can go. What do you think?
I guess
Uh,
like ghetto by what standard? That's where I'm at with ghetto, right? Like who decides what's ghetto? Is it ghetto because it's inherently black? Are my big old hoop earrings that I like to wear ghetto? Like that's that's like a sticking point that I've been at probably the last 5 years in terms of this word ghetto, right? Because the first ghetto ain't even had nothing to do with black people. It was a European thing during World War II. So I'm kind of just like ghetto by whose standard, because I'm not letting people tell me who I am anymore, right? I'm not letting outside people define me. I guess that's a benefit of being like where I am in my brain right now. But I think that's what we have to look at. Ghetto by whose standard? Is it ghetto by somebody who is, Bradley Woodworth the third? Then yeah, it probably is ghetto if he's the third Bradley Woodworth, right? Like this very basic name that it also has meaning though, right? Like Woolworth probably was people that was sheep herders or something. I don't know. All of these name etymologies have some type of origin and some type of starting point. And I'm just pushing back on ghetto. Like ghetto by who decided that LaQuisha is ghetto, but my girl Ainsley is not ghetto. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. You were about to say something, Joe. What were you about to say?
pretty much the same thing Marlo said. It's a legacy behind black naming. You know what I mean? That has to be addressed. I think somebody in the chat said something about decolonizing the mind, and that's kind of what it is. Like our names are one of the few parts of our culture that America didn't really get to steal or rename. So when someone calls you ghetto, what are they really saying? They're basically telling you that your identity makes them uncomfortable, or your culture doesn't belong here, or they want you to shrink so they can stay centered and comfortable. So it doesn't. It's just bias, and I feel like we have to do our best to affirm our identities, and not fall into the colonization of it. Sometimes, sometimes some of the names are crazy. But I agree with Marlo. It's like it's by whose standards. I'm not gonna let you walk into a room and call the situation ghetto. Um, you know what I mean? When you don't, you've already. It's just because it makes you uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Or because it makes you feel safe. I'm not doing that. So that's kind of
Yeah.
our names are our names sometimes when the people take the time to invest in. I'm down here at a center right now. That's a child care center for families facing homelessness. Right. I hear all kinds of names, and a lot of them are
Mm.
beautiful. And when I think about this, names that I never heard or wouldn't even think to name my children, you know what I mean? I look at it like names are love letters. Like they really are sometimes. Like you take the time to invest in a name that means something to you. It's a love letter written by your family, who believe you deserve to be seen. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's sorry, go not Siri. If somebody calls that ghetto, then you know what I mean that's ignorance talking to me. That's not your identity.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. What did the anonymous say? This is the greatest nation in the world. Name your child a normal name. And I'm trying to understand what's normal, because to
And his
me, I
name
feel
is
like we've been programmed, right? To like, what is normal? Is normal Amy? Is normal Beth?
Anonymous is not a normal name, son. So
Sis,
what's your
Anonymous is
normal
not
name?
even your name, son. So you can't even get on here talking about like a name of a normal name. You won't even show your face or your name. So you should be quiet. But I do want to know, I like Anonymous. Like I know y'all give Anonymous a lot of crap because he be talking a lot of crap. But I want to know from Anonymous, what's a normal name? what have you been programmed to believe is normal, right? Because that's what that is. It's programming. Dr. Sabrina, what do you think? What's a normal name? What are we being programmed?
So I think any name that you select is normal for you because everybody's normal is different. What looks normal in the Williams household may look normal in your household. So I mean, it really is relative to your reality. But I guess the question becomes, and I take this back to, we have the right to give our kids whatever names we want them to have. Okay, we can hang on to our culture, our beliefs, our identity, whatever we want to. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think any of us have an issue with that. But thinking forward, okay, if we say that this child is going to go not just in our household, not just in our neighborhood, not just in our community, but outside to try to get some type of work opportunities, then we have to think about the fact that they could very well be discriminated against because of that name that we chose for them. So it's nothing wrong. I mean, if that's what you want to do, if you want to name your child unique because you feel like your child is unique, then that's fine. But do you have a unique opportunity for a little unique within your circle, within your household, within your family business? And that's what Dr. Sabrina is suggesting that we need to do. If you feel so strongly about these names and our right to, name our children or whatever we want to name them, then take that same energy and put it into creating opportunities for little Unique and LaQuisha and LaQuisha and Quan and Juan and all of these folks, so that they don't have to deal with this drama and this nonsense and this trauma of being discriminated against because of their names that you chose to give them.
Yeah. Let's go to another video, y'all. I love that. I love what you all are saying. Since you say unique, I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna go to the real video. I'll be right back.
Why you apostrophe?
It's unique, and I'm here.
To Querdry.
Right, to Coriandre.
Lua, Laha, La.
It's LaDasha.
Vauga.
Exvondricia.
Benjamin.
Bro, it's Benjamin.
Quandile.
It's Quandale.
Qu-U-ESH.
Quisha.
Placenta.
Placenta is present.
Washa and Dryer.
Here.
When someone sees your resume, they are judging you for everything that is on it. And unfortunately, sometimes there are hiring managers who will judge or discriminate or have bias based on someone's name. When I was a teenager, I remember sitting down with my mom one day, just having a conversation, asking her like, hey, how did you come up with my name? I thought it was going to be like a cute little story about how she came up with my name, and she just knew that it was going to fit me. But my mom actually explained to me that she named all of her children names. That way, when we get into the world, corporate America, that people would not judge us off of our name. So my name is Candace. I was actually named after Candace Bergen, which is an actress back in the day. So me, my sister, and my brother all have not so Spanish names. Now, my middle name and my last name, if you see them, you know instantly that I'm Hispanic. My first name is Candace, so that's not a dead giveaway. And so that is a big reason why no one has ever discriminated against me because of my name. And another thing you might be surprised to hear that people discriminate against is age. So this is why you should not list your graduation date on your resume, because if you graduated years and years ago, they're definitely going to judge you by your age.
So Candace, so for the parents that are just like, I'm going to name her Beth, I'm going to name her Amy, I'm going to name her, even if you wanted to name your child something else, I'm going to name him Robert. What did Anonymous say? Anonymous said Kyle. He said Robert. Those are normal American names. I guess what he's saying is, in this country, that is considered normal. I say it's programming, but I hear you. If we were in another country, maybe an African country, the names would be normal to that environment. So what do you all think of that?
It's funny because I love to look stuff up. Kyle is not an American name, my guy. And I'm sure when the first cow came to America from Scotland, they probably had a hard time because of the good old American racism. It's never nothing that you're going to be able to do to get past the demand for assimilation. Our FBI's director's name is Cash App, y'all. That's his actual name is Cash App.
Wait. What happened?
Cash Patel's real name, his full name is Cash App.
Wow.
That is how it is pronounced. I live in Louisiana. We had the first Indian governor. His name was Payush. He went by Bobby, which has nothing to do with Payush, but his name was Payush. Like, I don't know what's in a name, right? This whole conversation, and I'm a Marlo. It don't matter to me because I float. I could float in all the circles. People think I'm a man. They figure I'm white. They don't know what's going on until I arrive. But I just think that name discrimination is not new to this nation. And people who feel like they want to assimilate are going to assimilate. But we are pushing 250 years, 300, however long this little country been doing this thing. We should be beyond something as simple as what a person is called, right? I don't want to live in a world where everybody is Kyle, Robert, and Mary Jones.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want to live in that world. And I don't know why we have to, because it makes other people feel comfortable. What is it about Americans that the fragility that people can't be who they are and be just considered a good person? It's so annoying to me that we have Anonymous, my good friend, who is, America was founded by Europeans, goofball, but they were also racist against Americans. I need you to not ever think you could debate me on a great American racism conversation, sir. If you like to, you could join me live on Instagram so I can eat your ass up. We can do that.
Come on. I would love to see that. Well, Anonymous is gonna stay anonymous because, like Constance says, he probably ugly and fat. All right. So Joe, what are your thoughts about that? Like, I played the video before of like Unique and Ladasha and Quivangiaria and all of that. When it comes to names like that, though, right? Like, does it matter? Does it matter if the names are that far fetched? Because those, Washa and Drya. What name did you say earlier, Marlo? What was the name that you said to somebody? The coldest, right? So people are getting outlandish with the names. What does that matter? Does that matter if you walk in and your name is Dakotas Williams? Like, does it matter?
I'm working on myself. I'm on a journey. And every time I come here, you try to test me in my journey with that video you just showed. But I'm gonna stay true to who I am. Wash it and dry it. I ain't gonna even go into that. I hear what everybody's saying. I'm really hearing that whiteness defines what's normal in America, because that's European defines what's normal in America. But this country, from what I understand, has always been shaped, built, and enriched by culture. A lot of times, cultures that weren't even invited to the table, but still asked to cook the meal. You know what I mean? So, I black names. I'm never gonna tell you that you made a mistake naming your child. It's creativity. I respect your creativity, like Dr. Sabrina said. You can't tell people what to name their kids, and trying to tell them what to name their kid is nothing short of oppression. That's oppression. You know what I mean? And I don't understand we're in survival. I understand all of that. I understand that, I just understand that if America can celebrate names like Barack and Beyonce and Zendaya, stuff like that, when they become famous, then the issue ain't the name. It's the bias that people, the bias that people like to attach, like what we're seeing in the chat right now. So, like I said, man, you can't ask us to cook the meal if you're not gonna invite us to the table. Is all I'm saying.
I have a question though. Okay,
Yeah.
there's one thing to give your child an ethnic name. Let's just put it like that. Cultural, whatever, however we want to classify. Even if you want to say unique. But is there a difference between that and just some straight up, as they say, ghetto names? Like, Lakeisha, Laquan, Laquavius. That's one thing. Washer and dryer. Somebody over here in the chat put pretty ignorant.
Pretty ignorant.
Like, wait a minute, what are we doing here?
Well, I have another question to that. What's the difference between you hearing a celebrity name their daughter or son like Apple or Garage?
Okay, let me
or,
tell you.
know
Let me
what
tell you
I'm
the
saying? Like,
difference. Let me tell you the difference. The person that named her child Apple, her money is this big, and so little Apple don't have to go over to Apple looking for a work opportunity. Little Apple's legacy, her, she can do whatever the heck she wants to because her mama has made a pathway for her to be able to do that. That's what Dr. Sabrina is saying is the difference as I see it. It's different when you got your own. I mean, if you got your own, any way you want to wear your hair, your eyelashes, your BBLs, or whatever else, your name, whatever else, that's fine. But when we step into these other worlds, and I'm not suggesting that we should have to conform. I'm simply saying they have made it that way in which we find ourselves sometimes having to do that in order to climb the ladder. And that's why I'm asking, are we thinking ahead? You know, if you're going to stand 10 toes down in that and say, I have the right to do this, that, and the other, be as committed to making sure that you are creating those pathways so that your children have opportunities. But you can't, you give your child a pretty ignorant. What are you saying? What are we doing? Come on now.
How do we, can we assume they Black? It's pretty ignorant Black. I want to know. Because sometimes we are surprised, right? Like
I would be very surprised, Miss Black Hollywood. I would be very surprised.
I know I can't put my finger on her name, but if you know a white woman in Houston, Texas area that is a lover of MAGA, and her name is something like Pumpkinisha, Poppy Seed. I don't know. She's married to my fiance's cousin, and it took me a long while before Poppy Seisha, whatever her name is. It is a name, y'all. And I thought this woman was Black. She is not Black. She ain't got no Black ancestry. She says that her mother was a teacher, admired those names, and made up her own name. So it is not confined to us. I dare y'all to go to trailer parks where you will see made up names with random apostrophes and dashes included. They do exist.
Yeah, it has been a really good conversation. Let me play one more video. I got a couple videos, but let's just play another video and I'm gonna go to stats and then we're gonna round this thing up.
And this is going to come with casualties of good people, not deaths. Next would be the names. And this is an interesting thing because ultimately, it is subjective to you. A difficult name may not be tough to me, but it could be hard, and it could go vice versa. So here's what we're going to do. Going forward, we are not going to drop our standards in the rare case that somebody can type a brilliant paragraph and push them forward. And this is going to come with casualties of good people, not deaths, but them not getting hired when they probably would have done a great job. But what it does is it keeps out the people that may end up causing us, our client, our time, our energy harm down the road. In order to be effective, rules cannot be subjective.
So basically, he's on the call saying, the names might, if it's hard for you to pronounce, there might be some casualties, right? And so I wonder if the answer is maybe we take a pointer. I don't know, y'all. This is for corporate spaces like this. Do we shorten our name? If your name is unique, do you just name yourself like, I don't know how you get around that, like Neek? I don't know. Like, it's still gonna sound ethnic, but you know, or take your middle name if that's not, you know, ethnic as well. I don't know. Do you change who you are if your parents named you something that you couldn't control, right? You just came out. You just came out the womb. You didn't have time to be like, "Oh, I hate my name." For example, right? So, at birth, my name was in fact Karma. It was Karma J. In fact, my name was Karma. My auntie came to the hospital and was like, "What is a Karma J?" It was like Karma June. She was like, "What is a Karma June? We're not naming her that. No, that sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. So we're gonna name her Tiara." And so they changed my name a few hours after I was born. And so, you know, I don't know. I didn't. Now that I think about it, I mean, karma is fine. Obviously, it's fine. But you know, at the time, my auntie thought it was extremely ghetto, so she had my mom change my name. And so, you know, I just wonder if we should be mindful of that, or I don't know, y'all. I'm a little confused about what to do at this point. It's like if your name is like Quingiana Yale or Yuya, what do you do about that, right? Marlo, what do you do? Just rock with it?
I name my kids basic names, like very run of the mill American names, as our friend Anonymous would say. But I want to just, Joe highlighted something, right? And Joe and Dr. Sabrina, Joe he mentioned Beyonce, and Dr. Sabrina said, "Oh, well, if you know your kid is going to be, nobody knows their kid is going to be great, right?" Miss Tina actually talks about how her parents were like, "Don't name that baby that. Why would you name her? Why would you give her this name?" They wanted her to go with names that were a little bit more traditional and less ethnic sounding. So I think that now it's like a celebrated name, but I can remember when Beyonce first came out and people were like, "Bouncy?
What?
Bouncy, y'all?
What is a
Beyonce?" Like
Beyonce?
just saying anything other than what her name looks like it says, which is Beyonce, right? So I think that you don't know what your kid is gonna be. Apple might be in an alley somewhere shooting up. I don't know where she at. You never know what is in a name. And I just think that name your kids what you want. If you want your kid to have a leg up, if you want your kid to not be teased and have it a little bit easier, then go with a name that's a little bit more traditional. Go with a name that has fewer syllables and is easier to pronounce and doesn't have random asterisks and hashtags or whatever in it. But it's nothing wrong with giving your child a creative name. Maybe as they're getting up to college applications and stuff like that, maybe y'all start to talk about abbreviations. Maybe you start talking about shortening the first name or using the middle name if it's a little bit, be strategic. But I would never say to people, just give everybody Amy. Like what that's boring as hell for everybody to have the same name. I hated having a unique name. I'm named after Marlo Thomas. My mom went into labor the day that show That Girl aired way back in the day. And I'm her namesake. My brother is named for Marlon Jackson, right? The Jacksons were hot. That's who we are. We are Marlo and Marlon. And to me, that was super ghetto. Us having these matchy, rhymey names, right? We not twins. We 6 years apart. Why are our names so similar? Now I love it because my mom put a lot of thought and love into those names, and she had a reason and a purpose. So I think as long as you're naming your child in a way that, like Joe said earlier, is affirming who they are and who you want them to be with love, man, knock yourself out.
Yeah, shout out to Mama Walterine in the chat. Hey, Mama, come
And
on,
Mama
Marlo and
Walterine got a
Marlo.
hell of a name too. That's a big old fill up your whole mouth name.
That is definitely a whole fill up your mouth name for sure. All right, let's go to these stats and then we're gonna round it out with final thoughts. You know, I was thinking about what you said. So I read Tina Knowles' book, which was very good, by the way, and she was talking about how even Beyonce, it has a French. It comes from their French and history. And so even that is not necessarily just something she was like, Beyonce, Beyonce. You know, like even that wasn't just made up. It definitely came from somewhere like cultures and generations of their name and them wanting to preserve it. So they named her their last name first. So I don't know. I think that's dope. And when I think about it now, I'm like, oh, I like that. I love that. So let's go to some of these stats, y'all. All right. It says a 2023 study from Harvard and the University of Chicago found that applicants with ethnic or black sounding names are still 10 to 15% less likely to receive a callback than those with white sounding names. All right. That's some BS. LinkedIn data shows that only 3.8% of executive level positions in Fortune 500 companies are held by black professionals. Resume whitening, which is a thing, y'all, where black applicants remove cultural identifiers from their resumes, remains a common coping strategy among job seekers. So, I guess when we're rounding out this conversation, I didn't ask y'all none of the questions I wrote down previously. This has just been a great off the rip conversation. Um, but I want to know, for people, you said something really great, Marlo. I think you gave me the answer, right? To like, what do you do, right? If you grow up and you're embarrassed of your name or whatever, I feel like I've always heard that people grow into their names. They grow into they're the ones that make it whatever it is. So, I guess I want to get your final thoughts. I wanted to ask you a question around it, but I really want to know ultimately what are your thoughts about ways that we can get around hiring biases? Can we get around it at this point with, can we get around hiring biases? Like what are we to do? So that is my question for you. I'll start with you, Dr. Sabrina. What are we as Black people to do? We can't win for losing.
Okay, I think what we can do is we can look at the data. It's staring us in the face. It's telling us. You've already laid out the statistics. So the question becomes, what do we do with that information? If we already know that our children are more likely to be discriminated against based on their name, what then do we do to hold on to our beliefs and our ethnicity and have a right to name those children what we name them, but at the same time, making sure that we are providing opportunities and not limiting their opportunities. So there are several things you could do. Maybe do a unique first name and a more common, if you will, middle name. Or vice versa. But I do think that some thought needs to go into that. But the other side of that is, unfortunately, I think that some of the people that are doing the naming are not even on that level. They're not even thinking that far ahead. And that's just the reality. It sounds good, it sounds funny, whatever at the time, but they're not thinking long term about their children's future. And so, it is what it is. What do? We look at the data and we try to make some informed adult decisions. That's how we get around that. That being said, I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted. I am so excited and delighted to be here on Monday, kicking the week off at the Fly Nubian Money podcast with the Royal Court, Marlo, Tiara, Miss Black Hollywood, and that guy Joe. We did this thing today, you guys. Come on back because we got 4 more days of it. Be right here, same bad time, same bad channel. All righty. Peace.
I love that. Bye. Thank you, Dr. Sabrina. Make sure you check out Dr. Sabrina. I love, love, love Dr. Sabrina on this show. She just is a little angel that came from Mississippi that we love her. Joe, let's I feel like no matter what, people will find if it's not the name, it's like when you walk your brown self up in a spot, it's gonna be another thing, which is another thing, and then you get on the job, it's gonna be another thing. So it's not really about the name, I don't think. Either way, this is just another thing. A name standard is another way, I think, to discriminate. So what would you say is a way that we can get around, this? Because either way, I feel like we're gonna encounter bias. Is there a way that we cannot encounter bias?
No, my name is Joe. I encounter bias. So that's to answer your question. I was in a training one time, and one of the exercises was to partner with somebody and kind of break down our names and all the feelings we had behind it. And a person across from me was talking about how there was a uniquely placed letter in her name, and then there's her last name kind of made her feel a way about her father and all the things, and she was felt so much pride. And then I just kind of almost teared up because like my name, there's power in your name, man. You do have there's a legacy behind your name, but my name, you know, I didn't feel that. I felt empty in talking about my name. So, I don't have enough time to go into everything that I felt in that moment, but when you're talking about going into a job, if a job needs you to shrink yourself just to keep that paycheck, that's not stability. Okay. That's a warning sign. And I'm going to tell you, like, you deserve to show up fully in your name, your hair, all of it. So in our community, naming our children is really legacy work. And whatever the name is, like I said, my name is Joseph Earl Corley Jr. I don't, unlike Marlo, I grew up I hated not having a common name. I hated it. There's no legacy in my name because my father wasn't present. So I wish my mother would have put more legacy into my name. We name our children with hope. We name them with pride. Um, my son, he carries a name from me that I passed it on to him. And our names aren't the problem. The bias is attached to us, not our names. So, protect your mental health at all costs, man. Stay rooted in who you are. Be authentic. Don't hide. And that's what I'm gonna say. Like, teach your kids that there's to say their name with power, okay, and pass on legacy. And you can find me on my website. Has all my socials attached to it. I'm coming back with my show sooner than later. So I know I've been missing lately, so I'm gonna come back and do a bunch of episodes. I'm starting to feel inspired again. So here we go.
Good. I'm wonderful. I can't wait until you come on out. Vulnerability is the new sexy. We cannot wait to see it. And check out Joe at Real You Consulting. Make sure you do it. Marlo, what do you say? I know you've given us a mouthful already. You said a lot of great things today, sis. So I just want to know from you, what are your fun? I'll let you eat because I know you're gonna do it. So go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I ain't got nothing to eat. I feel like I've said everything that I needed to or wanted to say. Y'all remember, I will share this, when we were in elementary school, y'all may or may not have done this, where you have to take your name, the first initial of your name. My first and last initial as a child were the same letter, both M's. And you'd have to do these adjectives, right? You'd have to attach adjectives. What adjectives start with your name? And the way that I started loving my name and appreciating my name is because I was able to say words like marvelous and magnificent and mischievous, because I am, right? Those, like Joe said, those words gave me power. Those words helped to kind of define who I am and how I see myself. And it was only through those exercises where I was doing word and letter association, right? And I end up hyping myself up, magical, right? All of these great words that start with M. And I think that words are power. I communicate, I use words every day. Every single day I am communicating verbally or in the written word. And words are power. And don't let anybody take your power because of the word that identifies who you are as a person. Let that word that identifies who you are as a person be part of who you are when you enter the room, right? It's not greater than you. Don't let it shrink you, but own it and have that be part of your identity, because it is, like Joe said, the bias is there regardless. It does not matter. The bias is going to be, it is baked into the bread. So you just got to eat the bias and not worry about it. I told y'all last week, I am not plugging the Marlo group because I have a lot going on with my day job, and I pride myself in not being a ball dropper when it comes to taking care of business. And I don't like to take on more than I could chew. But Anonymous, you can find me on the Instagram. And if you are up for that debate, you just gotta send me a request, big dog.
Hold on. Let's do this. This feels like a versus to me. Listen, if y'all want me to produce, Y'all want me to produce this thing? It can definitely be Marlo versus Anonymous. Anonymous, unfortunately, you're gonna have to come up off that video for you
We're not
to
gonna show.
do this
We're not gonna
thing.
show up.
He's
That
not
ain't no
gonna show
point.
up.
I'm not gonna show up.
But just know, I'm down to produce this. This feels like a boxing match.
Let me know. I'm off on Mondays, big dog.
Well, I could do it here on StreamYard. It don't even matter if you don't, cause he backpedaling.
Right.
Like I don't use Instagram.
Exactly.
I don't. We could do it right here. I can send you the link. Just let me know
Don't
when
want
you're
none of that
ready.
smoke from Marlo.
Info
Cut it
at
out.
the real network or info at therealnetwork.net. Yes. Email me. That's 2 E's like a movie reel whenever you're ready. That would be great. All right, y'all. Listen, this has been an amazing conversation. I really enjoyed myself. Like I said, I knew that I had the right ones for this conversation. If you're interested in, if you are new here and you've never been on the show before or watched us, go ahead and text Queens to 87948 to receive notifications for when we go live, because we are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, we're gonna get on out of here because we are over the time. But I just wanted to say this really quick. Thank you for watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your, we already said this. I already said this. Okay, this is great. Listen, thank you for joining us. We will see you soon. Come on back tomorrow where we'll have a lot more meaningful conversation. We'll see you tomorrow, y'all. Bye.